Plaintiff Josh Robinson dated the defendant, and they lived together. Josh claims while he was incarcerated for 7 months, he thought the defendant loved him and was being faithful. But instead, he was running around to all the gay bars. Josh is suing his ex for stolen money and emotional distress. Defendant Sean Long admits that he did not love Josh and cheated on him, but says he had no choice since Josh was in jail for 12 out of the 18 months they were together. Sean's countersuing because he claims Josh assaulted him and bloodied his face.
Start with you.
Okay. I met Sean through a mutual friend in December of 2009. We hit it off pretty well, and he moved in with me and some other roommates 30 days later in January. We personally didn't have problems, but he had problems with my roommates, whatever all that was about. They would come to me and be like, I don't understand why you're going out with a person like this. He is, trifling. He's a little sketchy. He's shady, basically. Even his own mother told me, what are you doing going out with somebody like this? He is going
After that first month in January, he was incarcerated for 3 months.
Did your mother tell him not to see you?
I don't know.
That's worse than any jail time he could have served. Go ahead.
Well, basically, like I was saying, his mother even said to me, why are you going out with somebody like this? He is...
You haven't said anything about him, though. You haven't said any specific things he does wrong or flaws. What?
Well, this is what other people were telling me.
What did they say he was doing?
They were like, whenever you would go to work, he just jumps out in the truck and he's gone the entire time. And by the time you get home from work, you would ask him what he's been doing. And he's like, I've been staying in the bedroom all night long. Well, no, you haven't, It's just small little things like that. But I've never really seen anything face to face. I'm the sort of person I got to see it to believe it. And the entire time through our relationship, I obviously had blinders on because I really didn't see anything until the very end. I'm not going to say that everything was perfect between us. Just like every other relationship, you have your ups and downs. You fight about money, you fight about this. He is, trifling. He's a little sketchy. He's shady, basically. Even his own mother told me, what are you doing going out with somebody like this? He is going
After that first month in January, he was incarcerated for 3 months.
Did your mother tell him not to see you?
I don't know.
That's worse than any jail time he could have served.
Plaintiff Josh Robinson is suing his ex-boyfriend, who claims Josh assaulted him and bloodied his face.
Go ahead.
In November of 2011, I was convicted of a third DUI, and I spent
a third.
That's correct.
You went to jail.
I went to jail.
For a year?
I went for 7 months. I got out on good behavior and because I worked.
You were sentenced to a year?
That's correct.
Good.
That's correct.
Go ahead.
And the entire time that I was in jail, I thought Sean was being faithful. I thought that he loved me. He would send me love letters. He would do things like that. And come to find out, he wasn't anything like that. He was running around. He was constantly going to the bars and
how did you find out?
Because when I got out of jail, I got on Sean's Facebook and I could see posts the entire time that I was in jail saying, I'm going to the gay bar. I'm hanging out with these friends. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. The entire time I'm in jail.
Partying like a rock star.
Partying like a rock star.
That being the funny part about all that.
Did he see pictures or not?
No.
He's lying about seeing pictures.
That 100% is a lie. I worked graveyards at a convenience store.
That man ain't
5 days a week.
5 days, right. So what about the other 2?
Well, I had to take care of my own thing.
Partying.
Of course.
Thank you.
But I wouldn't post it on
probably
Facebook.
other men. You know that, right?
Yes, I know
You
that.
assume that, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming that.
Yeah. You just out there partying, you going home, messing around. Did you mess around on it?
Oh, of course I did. Well, I mean, Your Honor, after 18 months of being together and him being in jail for 12 of it, I mean...
Women hold out while men are in the Army for 3 years.
Not after a month of being together and going directly to jail. We were together 1 month. He goes to jail for 3.
About that.
I mean, come on. How much love do I have for someone after a month?
You only knew him for 1 month before you went to jail?
Exactly. So how did I love him that much?
But he knew he knew the circumstances. He knew that there was a chance that I was going to go to jail. So obviously, if you got a problem with me going to jail, why can't you just end the relationship instead of stringing it on?
Well,
that's called being a man.
Probation 3 times.
That is called being a man. If you're done with it, then be done with it. Just don't go spreading it all over the place.
Let me get some background from you, and then we'll get to the stolen money. Yes, sir.
Okay, during our relationship of 18 months, he was in jail. He was one of the worst mistakes I could have ever done.
Why?
Why? Well, if he wasn't in jail, he was in AA meetings, drug court meetings, he was working. I mean, and then if he wasn't in that, he was under the influence of synthetic weed called Spice, and he was drinking to the point where one time he even bloodied my face. I even have a witness statement for that because he got so abusive on certain days.
Sir.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
There you go. Thank you.
But I'll tell you this, the AA meetings and me being in drug court, that's called rehab. That's what I was in, an outpatient rehab, something that you were fully aware of before we even got into a committed relationship.
Did you assault him before your rehabilitation or after?
This was during the rehabilitation.
Well, you weren't doing so well then, huh?
What happened was I had a relapse.
A relapse. Third relapse.
Is that the only time he assaulted you?
Physically, yes. Vocally, many times. And I have a statement from someone else who overheard conversations over the phone.
What type of verbal harassment?
After a hospital visit, he told me that I looked like crap after coming up and visiting him on my birthday. I walked up and he says, first thing he says to me is, "You look like crap."
What did you have on?
I just got out of the hospital, Your Honor.
You just got out?
Just got out of the hospital.
You probably did look like crap.
But come on. It was my birthday.
People in the hospital, when they leave, they don't look very good.
Oh, no.
When I got out of jail, I got on Sean's Facebook and I could see posts the entire time that I was in jail saying, "I'm going to the gay bar. I'm hanging out with these friends. I'm doing this and I'm doing that." The entire time I'm in jail.
Partying like a rock star.
Partying like a rock star.
Plaintiff Josh Robinson is suing his ex-boyfriend, who claims Josh assaulted him and bloodied his face.
What do you say to this, sir?
I'm not going to write a letter every day to someone. I'm sorry, I have my own life. I'm not going to sit down and take the time just because he wants out or mail coming into him to sit down and write a letter. Okay. He was constantly, all the time.
If you didn't want to be in a relationship, you need to be a man about it. That's all. I mean, come on. Be a man.
What you just tell him?
Okay, after what was it, April, when he got out his first VOP, I told him, let's start from scratch, and he said no. So we continued where we were. That's why I stayed what I was. Then he violated a second time. Once he violated that second time, the state told us to find a new place. And I really thought that maybe the second time would have got through to him. So I got an apartment in my name and everything ready. After a month of being in that apartment, he violates a third time.
What was the violation?
For smoking synthetic weed.
They found it in his system?
Oh, yeah.
This is after rehab.
This is during rehab. I know.
Is that stuff better than regular marijuana? Dora wants to know.
Yeah. I think it is. I was in a rehab program.
Why couldn't he just stay sober?
I can ask you the same thing. You were sitting right beside me smoking the same stuff.
Well, you know what? I wasn't in trouble for my third DUI.
That's fine. I'm not saying...
I mean, I can go out and drink. I'm allowed to go out to the bar and have a drink. If I want to smoke, I wasn't in trouble. He was in trouble.
Stolen money. How does he owe you for that?
In January of 2012, I asked Sean, since I was incarcerated, to file my 2011 taxes. He agreed to, and so he filed them. I got the federal tax I got back was $1,200, $1,222 to be exact. Out of that, there was things that I told him I wanted him to go ahead and spend some of that money on. And I have a list here if you need to see it.
Please. And what occurred? He misappropriated the funds?
Right. Things that I told him that he could spend the money on, I had $300, and this was for a rental deposit. I guess I broke the lease. I'm not really for sure about it. I'm sure that Sean has this information.
$300 in deposit.
I had him put $150 on my books while I was in jail so I could have necessities like a toothbrush or
$250, Your Honor, not $150.
Go ahead.
Okay. I had him take my animal to the vet. That cost $80. He bought me a new cell phone with a phone card. When I got out of jail, that was $125. The U-Haul, he purchased...
$40 for U-Haul. And what do you say to this, sir?
Okay. $300 in rent is all correct. The U-Haul was $60. And the gas to take him home in June was $300 worth of towing a U-Haul all the way to Ohio and back.
Your Honor, I have text messages right here that Sean confirmed that the U-Haul costs $40. Right here.
I have a receipt.
I'm sorry. You sent me a text message saying that the U-Haul costs $40.
Yeah, receipt, if it's authentic, I would have to go with the receipt over.
Also, he's saying that there's, I would have made the change if I would have known.
20 and 20 is 40 all over the world.
But when you include the tow ball and the lighting issues, I mean, I had to equip my
What
vehicle
about his
to
other
tow
money,
it.
sir? You have any other receipts? For example, the $250 on his commissary, you have that?
I do not. That was all on his tax card.
And the gas?
I do have all of that, Your
Let's
Honor.
see it. That's supposed to be $300, you say?
Sean is saying that it's $300 because he drove from Florida to Ohio and then back to Florida. I agree, it was probably $300, but I didn't make the trip back to Florida. The trip was for me to go from Florida to Ohio. Half of $300 is $150.
What?
I'm willing to pay for
I'm
it.
supposed to pay for myself to come home? I could have left his butt in Florida.
The plan was, no, actually what
I
you
mean,
did was,
I
Sean,
could have left
what
him
you
on the
actually
street,
did was, Sean,
homeless,
you picked me up from jail and
in
left
Florida
me at
and
your
just
mom's
left it.
house for a week. That's what you did.
Exactly.
You picked
I
me up
let
from
you
jail and
stay in my
threw me
family's
out.
house for a week.
You
Now,
didn't let me do anything. Your mother did.
The purpose for the trip, the round trip, was for
Him to go home.
I have letters here from Sean that basically say, we're going to Ohio together. I mean, I was
for you.
No, together as a couple.
To do what?
To move permanently. The plan was for me to get out of jail, use the income taxes to get us to Ohio
And things
to
change
live.
when you break up.
To live.
To live.
No, we had broken up by this point when I took him home.
Is that
He
right?
took me home 5 days after I got out of jail.
And I broke up with him.
But he took you home for your
Right.
purpose.
That's
And we were
correct.
broken up.
And then he had to pay to get back.
If Sean would have told me in the beginning that the relationship was over months into it, we wouldn't even be in this situation.
Your
I would
Honor,
have had someone else pick me up.
I had his
left
cat
jail
and all
thinking
of
my
his
boyfriend
belongings.
was going to move to Ohio with me.
Plaintiff Josh Robinson is suing his ex-boyfriend, who claims Josh assaulted him and bloodied his face.
Your counterclaim for $875 is for what?
Emotional distress.
How so?
Well, well, I mean, seeing that he was in jail and the beating up constantly and the verbal, just constant,
Yep.
I mean, between the being in jail.
Typically in relationships, you can't sue each other because you have a bad relationship. But when it turns violent, then the other person can be found liable in a civil court for their actions. Therefore, I'm going to hold you liable $500 for your emotional distress for that punch. All these other things that you're talking about, you went partying while the man is locked up. You out here partying everywhere you can. Who knows who you out there picking up men? Who knows? I don't know what you're doing. Were you picking-
I moved on.
he said you picked him up. Come on.
I actually had to move on.
See there?
I moved
Yeah.
on.
So you're
Good
right.
luck with all that.
At least this one's sober.
$877 is your judgment. $500 is your judgment, leaving you with $377. Keep your hands off folks, and you
I will
won't
try
get
to.
sued and get a judgment.
I will
again.
try to.
You'll try to. All right.
He will try to.
Have a good day.
You know, while you were in jail, I cheated on you from the very get-go. I mean, after a month, there is no way I could have loved you. And
Are you
know
watching
what?
all this? Because this is going to happen to you too.
Unfortunately, no.
I really wish that when your mom was telling me how trifling and trashy you was, she also told me that you were a thief and a liar and a piece of